Well, good evening, everybody. I'm going to call it not First Friday Live because, by the way, it's not First Friday, but we are live. I'm MJ, as you know. I'm going to talk about you and then I'll introduce you. Welcome, everybody that's online, live, after the affair, when it's in a podcast, you name it, you know where you are, you know what you're doing, you know why you're here. So, welcome, everyone. Today we are talking about older people. Not in that sad, oh, bless them way, but in the truth way, in the rights way. I'm a rights-based trainee social worker. In the way that we are making life harder than perhaps it already is. Because getting older isn't the problem. The problem I've got is about the systems that treat older people like they've expired. And let me tell you something. When you knock on the door of support, it should open, but too many people, by the way, 74,000 extensions, a computer says no maze, and a new full-time job called Chasing Help. Jesus said, ask and it shall be given. Knock and the door will be opened. Social care sometimes says, ask again on Monday, then Tuesday, and then, well, never. So today is honest, and I'm going to give a trigger warning before we go, which I generally always do because I'm opening my mouth. It's also a love letter to all of the older people, and that includes me because I'm over 50, and apparently older is now over 50. So me and thee, Ian, in a moment, we're the older people because older professionals are underrated. Older people are underestimated. Older people are undervalued, and we're done with that. Today, I am joined by the person you can already see, Ian Faulkner, a man who is an award-winning, deeply thoughtful, kind and wise man, a scholar, an author, and a man with real soul. And I am proud to call him my friend and one of the finest humans in my life. So Ian,
Likewise.
morning, evening, afternoon, and tomorrow and yesterday and today, because that's when everybody will see this, and forever. So I want you to tell me. Oh, by the way, I'm MJ Layson, in case you can't read or you're blind, and that's Ian Faulkner. I'm a woman in my 50s, and I've got purple hair and a purple top. And Ian is an older gentleman, maybe a little older than me, with a beautiful beard that he's just brushed. I'm just telling all of our blind listeners that you look beautiful, more beautiful than I've ever seen you, because I've never seen you brush yourself. I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Who is Oh, and welcome to Not First Friday Live. Well, it is no, there we are. Not First Friday Live as opposed to First Friday Live. Who's Ian Faulkner?
Ian Faulkner manifested in Warwickshire this time, and I found myself looking back only a few years after I was born, and I realised that I could see myself in my mother's womb. And in that process, I could see pure, sparkling light. And I thought, who am I and why am I here? And I'm not going to tell you my age. I will. But first of all, I have to say I'm ageless and timeless. Chronological age is 81. And I'm approaching 90 from the wrong direction because my soul is eternal. My mother, I won't use the names, that's very unfair. My mother, she was the daughter of a very famous GP in Stratford-on-Avon. And his name, I'll tell you, his name was Dr. Turner, Joseph Turner. There is a plaque commemorating his work to that town in the Civic Hall. It's still there today. I've been to see it with my consort, my partner, Jenny Smith. And he, I I have a couple of photographs of him, I still think, but he was a GP and he used to go around with the horse and buggy to his patients. And he never prescribed what is today called allopathic medicine. He gave herbal concoctions, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think they called it that then.
I think they did, yes. But the thing about Dr. Turner was he was a very prominent Freemason. And at a certain point, he founded the Monroe Davis Maternity Hospital in a little hamlet village called Tiddington, just outside the town. And it is said that because he was a prolific seducer of women, let's not put too fine a point on it, and of course, becoming pregnant out of marriage, out of wedlock at that stage was a criminal offence. So he had to have a place for his maids and the daughters of his patients, etc., etc. And from what I've been able to figure out, my mother was one such. And when she was a baby, or maybe one or two, she was farmed out to a family, and there, I think, were 10 or 12 children in that family. And if I may ramble, as the wheel turns, some years later, I met a very, very wonderful lady called Angela Smart. She was my first proper girlfriend, and I've written about it in my book, From the Garden of My Mind. But by way of a very brief synopsis, Angela and I very slowly fell in love. I worked at Hepworth, the tailors, on the high street in Stratford-on-Avon. It was my Saturday job. And from time to time, I was sent to the Hepworth headquarters. I remember the address, Hepworth Limited, Leeds 2. So I had to take the train from Stratford-on-Avon. And I remember somewhat the first time I went, my world consisted of walking, riding a bicycle, and then taking the bus from the little village where I lived at that time into Stratford-on-Avon. So suddenly being taken right up to Leeds on a train. It was a steam train, and it was so exciting. But I'd never done anything like that, and I'd never stayed in a hotel. Anyway, one day I'll just give you something to make. Let's have something to make us smile. One day, the head of the alterations department, he said, "Faulkner, do you recognise this handwriting?" And so I stepped forward, looked at it, and I realised it was the handwriting of our branch manager. And I turned beetroot red and I said, "Yes, sir, but I'd rather not say." And he said, "It reads trousers, short and all possible." In other words, chop the bloody legs off.
Oh, that's funny. That is so funny. I'm going to stop you only because you've already alluded to the fact, and I know because I've known you 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know how long now, years. You're
I think about 5 years.
Yeah,
About 6, isn't it? Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's been delightful every step of the way.
You're a poet because I've read your poetry. No, I've listened to your poetry in my mind. You're an author, and now you pursue not conventional medicine. So tell me, what is it that you do? And I can't even say the word, so you can do it.
Yes, way back when, some 38 years ago, I met a wonderful Ayurvedic doctor. I had a yoga studio in the Channel Islands, and his name is Dr. Don Brennan. He is indeed the founder of the Ayurvedic Practitioners Association of Great Britain and Ireland, and we became great friends. And every time he came to the Channel Islands, he used to give me a free consultation. I had a yoga studio of about 350 students with a waiting list. The only day I didn't teach was on a Friday. I needed one day off, and more than one of my students used to give me a herbal massage, so that was fantastic. But anyway, Don Brennan, he taught me about Ayurveda, and he used to give talks. I usually manage to find between 20 and 25 of my students to attend the venue for these talks and book consultations with these my yoga students. And he taught us about diet, about lifestyle, and about the pharmacology of herbs. And then, now today, I don't have any allopathic medicine. I went to see a GP this morning because that is the system that we've got. I happen to have a very, very good GP. He's a senior partner, and he'd taken a number of blood tests following a trauma that occurred in September. I'd rather not get into that. But he has now found that they're all normal, which is very, very reassuring. And he noticed that my weight had decreased again, which, when you've had trauma, you've become somewhat incapacitated. And so that was reassuring. And got another review, I think, in about 3 weeks' time. But the thing about Ayurveda is it's called Ayur is Ayus, and Veda, it means the science of life. Its root comes from Sanskrit. I've yearned to learn Sanskrit for so many years. I remember when I was a student at the University of Oxford studying English literature with Professor Bernard O'Donoghue. He said to me one day, he said, do you know this quotation from a poem? And the quotation is, I'll probably get it slightly wrong, to see yourself in a grain of sand, to hold eternity in the palm of your hand. And I thought about this and I said, Bernard, I have no idea. Anyway, he patted me on the shoulder and he said, you're in excellent company. Nobody else has. But today, I would be able to answer that question truthfully, because what he's describing is how the mind works in meditation. So in meditation, sometimes we'll find that we see things. Some people say, well, you can only see visions if the third eye is open. Personally, I don't find that true, but you can see visions. So then you will see flowering lights, you will see sea urchins, you will see doves, you will see animals, you will see manifestations of divine people, male and female. You will see the ocean. You will hear the sound of a conch. You will hear the sound of a bumblebee. You will experience the delight of like being suspended in space. And it is said that meditation for 10 minutes actually is the equivalent of 1 hour of REM sleep, 20 minutes, 2 hours. So, for many years now, I've had a fairly disturbed sleep pattern, but doing it spontaneously in the night, lying down, relaxed, breathing gently, but, diaphragmatically if you can, but not too deep, you will be able to improve things for yourself. I'll take a pause.
Thank you. Do you know what? I mean, apart from meditation became my savior, 5 years ago, in fact. I'll be
Yes.
honest, I found the world just too overwhelming being so unwell and in hospital. And when I leaned into meditation, it was an escape initially. And I just wonder, I know about you in that you used to be quite a well-paid management consultant for a lot of years. So from that corporate position, I mean, my brother's was in advertising for 30 years, and I used to say that he would sell people things that they didn't want and couldn't afford. And therefore I would never want to be in advertising. So yeah, we laugh about it now, but it's an incredibly corporate world to come to be so spiritually centered. I mean, what happened? Or what was the transition? How was it?
The transition was that because of this toxic overload, I became incredibly ill. And I suppose in reality, I could have died. But I chose life over death. And, I've subsequently found that lots of people come to that point. And, if your belief in the divine, it doesn't matter what your personal interpretation is. We can call Lord Jesus, we could say Guru Brahma, we could say Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, we could say Kunyin, we could say Mary Magdalene, saint. It doesn't matter. However, it's that this I came to the conclusion that there is something beyond us, beyond this mere mortal body, something. I don't know for everybody how you would explain that. In fact, perhaps it's best not to even try. But it is there. And what we found is if you surrender to the divine, then the divine takes care of everything for you.
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. And we won't go into my journeys to the other side and back again, and near-death experiences and periods of intubation. And
We both had more than one.
You were on 27 pieces of medication. I was on 26, and I'll be honest, asking for support all of my life. I was born disabled. I was in hospital school. I began at 11 realizing that it was a result of the Department for Works and Pensions that I couldn't leave hospital. And I literally vowed that day that I realized that Margaret Thatcher was running my life, that politics decided where I was, and that was 11. But I mean, asking for support has always been hugely challenging. It's something that, I feel is a job in itself. Even being ill, right, is a job in itself. But what do you think asking for support cost you emotionally? Have you ever asked for support? I know you have, but you can answer.
Yes, I have. Unfortunately, these particular systems of government, like social services, the NHS, I think, has moved somewhat, but the social services, we've got some fundamental issues, flaws. First of all, they are deliberately underfunded. Secondly, you have to be very careful who your social worker is or support worker, because very often you can find that they're in that work for the wrong reasons. I mean, a lot of social workers, this is my experience, don't believe in God. And you've got this, how can you relate to somebody? I mean, I remember on one occasion, I won't mention the name, but I had a social worker, and at that time we were getting quite a lot of support from a parish priest, Father Patrick. And sometimes he would record either what she told me on the phone, permissibly, or what she said when she came to visit. And then the next day, he'd either drop by or phone up, and he said, I've talked to that woman again today, and she says completely the opposite. And, that process was incredibly draining, because we really, not just myself, but Jenny, the love of my life, we needed support, and we struggled to get it. And I can tell you, hand on heart, we found a wonderful lawyer, a lady, and I won't tell her name because that would be unfair. I know she prays for me every day. And she said, Ian, I can't believe how your mind works and how you can describe things. She said, but you've got anger in there. Don't send it to social services, send it to me. And she said, and I will get the true essence of what you're expressing, but I'll take out the anger and the frustration as best I can. And actually, together, we won 3 judicial reviews.
Wow. I knew you had, but I
Yeah.
didn't really know the
And
background.
on a 4th occasion, because I got pretty well versed in, in the methodology, although I never had to attend a court at all. But I got pretty well versed in the methodology. And another council, they said, okay, Mr. Faulkner, we found out that you've won 3 judicial reviews. We'd like to settle out of court. And we agreed on a sum, a paltry sum. And, they said, we'll get this money to you within a few days. Months later, they still hadn't paid it. And so I thought, I got a bit frustrated, and I phoned up somebody and finally got hold of a senior manager, I guess, and said, look, this was the agreement. You've reneged on the agreement. I'm going to instruct my lawyer to issue judicial review on Monday. I did this about 4:30 on the Friday, because that's how she always did it. And don't give them time, because otherwise, smart cookie she was. And so anyway, they said, oh, awfully sorry. We'll get a check round to you today. And I'll tell you what, within half an hour, taxi turned up, somebody came with the check.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
You really have to call them out. And frankly, I mean, we've had this discussion before, forgive me, but I would personally have nothing to do with social services.
That makes me sad, because I'm a trainee social
worker. It doesn't make me sad. It makes me realise that my experiences were so dire. I don't want to be re-traumatised, and frankly, it should, I know what you're going to say, it shouldn't be like this. It should not be like this. They are there to provide the support and the expertise that is needed at that time, and they don't deliver.
I'm sorry that's
this is the first lesson.
I'm sorry I am so sorry that's your experience, because
and MJ, my dear, it wasn't easy to say that, because you are a social worker. And I'm sure if I was your client, it would be entirely different. But I don't need it now, thank God. And I pray that I never do again.
If you did have to have a social worker such as me, and you actually, what I was going to say earlier was you were lucky to know their name, to be fair. Yeah. I'll tell you what, the latest research that we've carried out in the British Association of Social Workers, and I'm a standing member committee of Basworth Cymru, the student Basworth Cymru Social Work Committee member, but I'm also a member of the International Federation of Social Workers and the human rights portion of that. But what we found was that older people, and remember that's me and you, because over 50 is it now, all they wanted, not all they wanted, but the first thing they wanted when a very, very important thing was going to happen, like moving into care or having to sell your home or accessing health and social care as a care package was to know who they were and what their name was. I mean, how much less could you want? So if you did have one and you knew their name, I mean, two of those things would be amazing, wouldn't it? What would you actually want them to do with you rather than just assess?
I'd like them to understand the circumstances, the predicament, and actually do something about it.
Wildly complex, that isn't it? Understand where you are and then act.
And then act.
And if that's
Instead
not
of coming
experience,
back time and time again, I think at one stage, between them and the psychological service and actually a psychiatric service, I had about 20 assessments. And every time they said, yes, of course you need support. Problem is, we don't have any funding and we can't see any funding be available for several years. So their legal obligation is to do an assessment, not to provide support. So how flawed can that system be?
well,
That's your starter for 10.
it is my starter for 10. And as a trainee social worker, I would like to raise the aspirations and the opinions, the aspirations of the social workers in training and those that are qualified and those that have been here for many years. And I'm going to do this to you now. All right. This lady is a very good friend of mine, Julia Ross, and her book called The Social has to be, this is Julia on the back.
Yes.
And Julia is, she was a nurse first, then she became a social worker. And, you know, she has, well, just done incredible things in the field of social work. And I have to say that she's one of the most rights-based, integrative practitioners. But remember, she was a nurse before a social worker, so a second career professional. But I think we should all be able to call the social. That's what the book's called. And I also think that we ought to be able to find a relationship. I believe in relationship-based practice, i.e., I have to be who I am, authentic. But I often find that managerial professionalism that people wear, that puts a barrier between actually connecting. And then it doesn't matter how many assessments you have, because I don't believe you can actually share what's really going on. So for anyone listening, and we've talked about health, and I could bang on relentlessly about the Magnificent Seven: eat right, move right, sleep right, drink right, poop right, talk right, think right. I could, because they literally have changed my life. But for anyone that is listening that might feel there's a different route to their health rather than pharmaceuticals and etc., first step do you think they should take?
The first step is to, I think, carefully analyze what medication you're taking and what your lifestyle is. These are key issues. You must actually change your life and make sure you're in bed by 10:30 at the latest every night, because otherwise the body clock is going to be out of synchronization, which over some years will cause further health problems. There is a case for medication, of course, in some circumstances. But what we have to realize is that allopathic medication is what some doctors call the sticking plaster approach. Generally, you're given 10 minutes when you go to see your GP. Fortunately, today I had an hour, and my GP will not give me allopathic medication prescriptions. He knows that I'm taking herbal prescribed tablets, and he highly approves of them. And I think that there's a difference. Our lifestyle affects our health and our longevity. And also within that, because I'm a Taurian, I have tended to work far too hard throughout my life, and that's not good. Now I've had to slow things right down. I've really, really struggled to try and not respond to emails or messages. I do my very best to leave my phone in my car because, when you've got that economic mind churning away, you think, oh well, shit, it's only 8 o'clock. I'll give them a ring. No, 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 because then the mind will latch on to that, and that's going to disturb your sleep. Some people, of course, can put their head down and fall asleep. I don't know how they do it. Perhaps they've never had any challenges in their life. Well, blessings on them, but it's unusual these days. Life is so hectic, so frenetic. We've got to do our best to slow everything right down, and spend time in nature.
Oh, important.
Yes.
So important to be out.
Nature has intrinsic healing qualities. I remember having a business meeting with a lady from Business Wales, and I was sat in the car. Jenny walked off. It was summertime. Jenny walked off, and I said to this lady, I have a robin sat on the bonnet of the car, and 4 other robins singing sat around me. And she said, Ian, she said, I'm stuck in this office 4 days a week. She said, I've reduced my time to 4 days a week. And she said, I would give my right arm to be where you are. Your office is out in nature, where we all need to be. It's like,
Right? It's where we began.
of course, you can't do it this time of the year, but this is why we come to a splendid hotel like this. Can I advertise? This is the Falcondale Hotel, very close to Lampeter, and it is. It came into new ownership only a few months ago, and they've really worked hard to make it presentable, warm, cozy, welcoming, and okay, it's probably 4-star. I don't know whether it's got an official rating. Seems rather irrelevant, but it's of its standard, it's not overly expensive, and it's far better to be relaxed here. It's open, you can walk easily, just to walk around. And there's usually people, just sit here. I think I mentioned to you the other day, was sat pretty much here. This was just before Christmas, and met a couple, and he is indeed from Fishguard, and she lives somewhere else. So they're having a weekend together, and it turns out that he is involved in a little theatre in Fishguard, 120-seat theatre. And he said to me, so what do you do? And I told him, and he said, so you're building yourself up to do readings of your work in a theatre. He said, wow, he said, I'm involved in this little theatre. He said, here's the email address. Later on, he said, you send them an email, and he said, I can tell you they'd be delighted for you to go and read from the Garden of Your Mind, some excerpts from that.
You see?
And there's an opportunity to promote my work, and I mean, here I've had some preliminary conversations with the owners, and it seems that, in fact, it doesn't seem anything. There is a corner in another lounge room where they feature local authors. And so they said, well, it's very quiet now. They advertised a lot on Facebook, which I'm personally, I'm not computer literate. but we discussed this. I've got plans ahead to become thus. But they're going to advertise it when we've agreed a date. You're going to come and present me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I am indeed. And, I'm glad that you've alluded to what you're going to do, because the reality is, Ian, that we met when you were at university. And I don't mean when you were 20, because I wasn't alive.
Oh, you bad girl.
but I did meet,
for that one, could you?
but I did meet you at university. Well, I knew you at university, and of course, I was at university too. And it wasn't when I was 21 either, because they
No.
said I wouldn't go to university, so I won't leave. That's basically it. And I also like the 17.5% discount from Ryman's. But apart from that, I love stationery. But apart from that, we met at university, and you were beginning your foray. I mean, I say beginning. You were academically stating your foray into your creative writing. And
Yes.
this year, there's not just your creativity and your incredible work. And I've already spoken to you about the description of your first love and that very slow movement towards your connection
Yeah.
to the most, inspiring and emotionally provoking. That's the point. When we write, if we help people feel, or they feel, then they remember. People don't remember what we said, they remember how we made them feel. But
Yeah.
you're starting not only to now step out into these spaces, just like I am on social media, just like I have been over the last couple of years, getting on stages. And at one point, if I went on a virtual stage, even on my phone, where there was no people, there was just voices. Well, I say people, there was just voices, like a group call. Even when I put my virtual hand up to go on a virtual stage with only voices, I used to visibly shake.
Yes.
Now, I find stages to be comfortable, because I believe that practice makes progress. It never makes perfection.
No.
But I'm looking forward. I want to know about two things, and I know about them really. I want everyone else to know about two things. Apart from your incredible book, apart from the poetry, apart from the writing, you are going to be speaking, and I'm going to present you at these inaugural kind of initial forays with I say very small, 120 is not small, but smaller audiences. But
Yes.
that's not the only business. I mean, we've also got your beautiful lady who is an artist.
Indeed, she
So
is.
I've got two of her most incredible cards, not in this space, but I have. And the pair of you, there's no wonder you adore each other.
Can I just show you?
Oh, yes, you can.
Hold that down.
Just go up a bit. Up, 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 up. Stop. There we are. That's perfect. Do we see that? That's a card I have. I have both of them. They're just beautiful. And that's because you spend time in such beautiful places, I think. But also,
Indeed. And I wrote a poem about that.
Did you?
I did. It's called Poetry for Today, another book. And I can't remember it word for word, but basically, I likened the heron, because I used to fly internationally a lot, and I likened the heron to an aircraft. And I said, so now she turns, she banks, left wing down, right wing down, straighten up, undercarriage down, slowing down, neck up, oscillating left, oscillating right. She wheels round to the left, and right in front her, she sees LHR1. Straightens up, slows down, and makes a perfect landing. And for those that don't know, LHR1 is London Heathrow 1, which was basically where I used to fly in and out of.
Where you
Actually,
used to live.
I can tell you something, a little anecdote. When I was a management consultant, I don't think it's professional to say who my employer was at that time, but on one occasion I left Riyadh, and it was on an L1011 TriStar jet, and it was the first fully automated flight from Riyadh to London Heathrow. And when we got to London Heathrow, the fog and snow were so deep that other aircraft were being diverted back over to the continent. And the fog was so deep that when we touched down, the pilots could not even see where the terminal was, so they had to send out a car to escort them. But it was the first, I believe, I'm right in saying, the first fully automated landing at London Heathrow. And okay, it's a long time ago, but something like that, you can find that in your memory bank if you look for it. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I look forward to having just as many memories as you. I am still alluding to the fact I'm a little younger. Um,
Okay.
so come on, I don't
Mandy
mean
Jane, I need to take a 3 minute break
no problem. Go and have
for one's comfort.
go and take that break, and I will talk to people whilst you're away.
Thank you.
So it is incredible that we are all here. I'm just going to pop Ian off the stage whilst he's come back, and then we can talk. I don't look that great today. I've been in hospital, I'll be honest. I had a scan today. It's not the greatest thing to need the hospital, but I managed to make it here on First Friday Live, or not First Friday Live. Now, the thing is about the British Association of Social Workers and the Older Persons Campaign, and I am part of the special interest group for the social workers, British Association of Social Workers, uh, is that, well, as a trainee social worker, I just don't think that trainees think that older people's social work is sexy or attractive to them, or will give them development opportunities. And yet, I'm sure you're aware that actually older people bring more wisdom, more knowledge, more understanding, and more appreciation for the breadth and depth of society than many of our younger people. And I'm not dissing young, I'm just stating that this opportunity with Ian for me is fantastic to know this man for 5 years and hear what he's been through, what he's grown through, and how he's become really the creator of his own life and the creator of such wonderful works, is an honor. And when he comes back, we're going to ask him about a typical day. Now, when we're talking about social work, I do have a care and support package. I am disabled. Ian's disabled. Many of us are, whether that's physically, mentally, psychologically, psychosocially. And I know one thing. I would like to know the name of my social worker, but I don't. And in the Older Persons Campaign, older people told us that they would like to know the name of their social worker, particularly those times when we have to make huge decisions like moving into care and support, get into a care home potentially, or selling our home, or moving into a bungalow, or changing our lives dramatically. And as Ian's alluded to, in fact, no, he hasn't, he's just stated it outright. He had hundreds of assessments and no outcome. Now, the duty to assess is important. We need to see what care and support is possible, required, and is in our gift. But for somebody of Ian's stature, standing, and experience to feel like that about social work makes my heart saddened. My role in social work is an integrative practitioner. I want to bring health, education, and social work together. Why? Well, because we all deserve a life that we deem is worth living. And in fact, the only way to do that is together. You know, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, is what they say. And I think we are better together. I believe that multidisciplinary practice, i.e., everybody working together around, we call it a team around the child in social work. Well, I'd like to see a team around the person. And that team should be about health and well-being and looking after ourselves and understanding how we can contribute to our well-being and not just picking up a quick fix from pharmaceuticals. But I was never taught that. So I swallowed the pills and swallowed the pills and kept on swallowing the pills until actually I was more ill than when I began. And Ian's explained the same. Natural medicine isn't a dirty word. And actually, looking at how the body works and how it can recover and how we are neurally plastic and we regenerate every 7 years. Did you know that? Every cell of your body regenerates every 7 years. Well, then I think we should be teaching very young and our older people like me and Ian about health and wealth and happiness through eating, moving, sleeping, drinking, thinking, I've forgotten, pooping and talking right. The Magnificent Seven, right? And that concept, that simple concept of thinking about those 7 things changed my life. It changed my life to such an extent that I went from Yorkshire to Wales in order to be a social worker in training. And that was 5 years ago. And I'm still here in Cardiff, in Wales, but much healthier, much slimmer, much happier. And I have to say, alive. You know, as much as I've been to hospital today because I've got a little problem with my kidney, I was born with duplex kidneys. They should not really work. They were replumbed when I was 11, and here we are. I'm a lady over half a century, and only just have I started to have a problem. So never let it be said that I'm dissing the NHS. They've saved my life a number of times, or social services, because there are some great social workers. There really are, but they're under pressure. It's a managerial affair right now. Social workers spend 80% of their day on a computer as opposed to being with someone alongside them, hearing their story. And on that note, I believe our incredible guest is back, and I'm going to ask him about a typical day. Ian, welcome back.
Thank you.
Was that good?
Okay, comfortable again.
I think comfortable's a good idea. Wriggling around in the seat needing isn't a good idea, isn't it?
No.
I was a bit like that before my scan this morning, a bit like, will somebody take me in? Yeah, into the
Can I
scan. Not
just say, I forgot one,
yes,
what I regard as an important detail.
yes.
When I was over medicated, my blood pressure was constantly borderline stroke, about 210 over 165. Okay. And today, in fact, one GP that we had in Glastonbury, which must be about 12 years ago, he said, Ian, you've been coming up to see me every week now for a review. He said, you've clawed your way back. There's nothing wrong with you. Your blood pressure is 120 over 70, that of a 25-year-old male. And I had it checked with this, again, he's a senior partner GP locally, and he said, hasn't changed, it's the same.
Well, you know, you've got a heart of a 20-year-old and the soul of a 20,000-year-old. But I don't think I've ever met a 20,000-year-old, and I don't even think that's a thing. But you are an old soul, and yet you are so young at heart. Tell me what a typical day looks like for Ian and Jen.
I have to say my day does not start as early as it should or could. It's usually between 10 and 11. I have very little for breakfast, usually a banana, and then I have some supplements. I don't think it's pertinent to say what, but they're sort of the basic supplements. One thing I would like to say is that vitamin C is so highly underrated, and I have vitamin C 3 times a day. Yeah.
You've just
And
reminded me of
it is
something.
not cheap. Excuse me, the reverse. It is not expensive.
There we
And
are.
another thing that the body needs, and when we were children, we used to be given cod liver oil.
Mm.
At school, you were given, yes, I think we had cod liver oil at home, and then the schools used to give a bottle of milk in a glass bottle. And that was, it wasn't pasteurized, it wasn't homogenized, it wasn't, excuse the language, buggered up. It was raw, natural milk.
Beautiful.
And today we found unhomogenized milk. Occasionally we buy raw milk,
Oh,
which is, there's an organization, Old Hall Farm. They have a herd of Jersey cows. Jersey and Guernsey cows are the only two cows that have the A2 genetic code, and that's what our bodies love and need. In India, there's all the cows are A2. What was that particular breed? Doesn't matter. Anyway, I can't remember it all with the best of ability.
it'll come or it won't, and it doesn't matter. People could go and look, can't they?
Faulkner cows they are actually.
There we are.
So they are Faulkner, THARTHURPE, PRKR. Yeah, and they're very ancient, and they are those cows. They're kept outside, and they are loved. When they get old, they're not killed for meat. They are treated with respect and dignity, and they are nurtured into their next
expression.
Indeed.
I don't believe it's
bringing tears to my eyes, because the thing is, when you're old, you can easily find yourself discarded, set aside, simply not respected at all. And that's one of the root issues that pervades society today.
Okay.
Because we're taught mainly through media exposure that the world is for the young. And of course it is. We need renewal, but people, the older you get, if you look after your health, I can share such ancient wisdom. When I can afford to do so, I hope next year, I'm intent on it. I'm going to commence an Ayurveda practitioner course. I think we did discuss this briefly.
We have.
Because it's something that I've wanted to do for years. And it seems to sit well with my mind, body. I've gained a lot of understanding. I mean, Jenny and I have now a wonderful Ayurvedic doctor. She's in Dublin, and she belongs to the consortium that Dr. Don Brennan established out there. And she, when I had my examination with her last April, I think it was, she was taking, in Ayurveda, they take 12 pulses, and she was listening to my pulse, and she said, "Ian, when did you have your gallbladder removed? When did you have your gallbladder removed?" She said, "That, in terms of your health, is the root cause of your dysbiosis."
And mine.
Yeah. And she said she prescribed a herbal concoction. I think there's about almost a dozen or 7 or 8 herbs that Jenny simmers, and we have it in a flask and we drink it through the course of the day.
Seen you.
And yes, you have. And she said, in 10 to 12 years, your gut will be, for both of us, ironically, she thought Jenny's gut was worse than mine, and I don't know how that is, but that's no
No.
disrespect to Jenny at all. But she said, in 10 to 12 years, your gut will be healed and sealed. And the thing is that every day is a bonus. I cannot foresee. Um, I was watching Rod Stewart on YouTube recently, and at one of his several homes, I think it's somewhere in the home counties, he's created an area where he's going to be put to rest. And I just think to myself, I love his music, and of course he believes in God. I mean, he and his amazing wife, and but to do that, it's like he don't give death the chance to come into your life. Don't do that. Life is so precious. It's a gift. We need to do. I saw somebody in Glastonbury some years ago, and it was repeated recently with the present GP, and they said, "You've eschewed the pipe and slippers, and you want to work, and keep doing it, because you've got to have something to get up for in the morning. You must have something, but equally, you've got to have your periods of rest.
Yeah.
So my day starts at that time. Mondays, I try and avoid social media in terms of messages.
Good idea.
I probably get through 4 or 5 meetings a week. And they're usually very intense because, setting up, I was endeavoring to set up 2 businesses concurrently. And now I've kicked the second one, the Vata Pitta Kapha limited business, into touch till next year, start next year, because there's enough to do for the present business in terms of launching, doing these presentations, reading. And I know you've offered to help with that. I've connected with somebody from Age Cymru, and they're going to meet us here. It won't be. She's going to phone a week today, I believe, and make an arrangement. And she says meeting in a social venue is ideal, because she said neutral ground is good for both parties. And she's going to either herself or find somebody through her many contacts that will teach me, for example, how to do a presentation on YouTube, how to present on. I've heard the term podcast. I don't know what it is. I mean, look at Sadhguru. Do you know him? Have you seen him?
Yes.
Sadhguru. He has over 500 million followers. And he just simply, these days, I understand he just simply gives interviews on YouTube. And okay, you don't get a huge sum, but each time somebody views, you get a small sum of money. It's income.
This will be on our YouTube channel, so you will be on YouTube. Then you'll become a podcast. Then you'll become Reels, and then people will see excerpts of this.
Yes, and our mutual friend Kate, she's been helping. She's been putting some information and connecting me with people on LinkedIn. I have not a clue how to use LinkedIn. Sometimes I put follow, other times I think. I mean, it's purely subjective, not objective. I don't like the look of the name, or I don't like the look of the person.
Same as me.
In the best contact on the planet. But, that's...
I go with my gut feeling, me, and I look and I think, nah. I look and I think, I might like you. We're in the last minute. So I'm going to ask you 2 things. The first thing is, if people want to find out more about you and what you do and where they're going to come and, be part of the audience when I present you and when you read from your incredible book,
Yes.
how do they? Where are you? You're talking about social media. Can they actually find you on social media except here?
I don't think so. Not yet.
You're hiding.
They could find me through LinkedIn.
And they could find me. They could find you through me as well.
Yes. And also, they will find me through YouTube in due course. But I've already published, as you know, my first book, Poems to the Beloved, and
Beloved.
that's available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle at a
Fantastic.
very reasonable price. But I'm not going to go through, as we've discussed, I'm not going to go through Amazon again because they're huge upfront fees. Occasionally, I probably had a few £100, but at least it made me an author. I'm recognised, and it got my creative writing into mainstream.
Exactly.
And yeah, and so I feel that was a major achievement. I mean, lots of people hold the dream of publishing, but very few actually achieve it.
That's
And
right.
I had a lot of help from a mutual friend, James, if you remember,
I do.
and he God, he worked so hard to help. He really did. Yeah,
Yeah, I've got one
as
last question.
indeed you did yourself. It was these things are not.
It's collective.
Achievement doesn't come easy, but it
And
doesn't stop you from trying.
no, and while you were away, I was saying, look, actually, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And
Yeah,
I talked about you, without you, whilst you were away. So you're gonna have to listen to that 3 minutes while you were getting a comfort break. But I've got one more question,
yes.
and you can tell probably what it is because I'm waving my magic wand. If you had a magic wand, which of course we have, whether we're carrying one or not, and you had 5 minutes to make a change in the world, what would it be?
First of all, I think that I don't think, we did quite a bit of research. We have entered a time when the wheel is turning, the world is turning, and we've just gone into from the new year into the age of the emergence or the re-emergence of the divine feminine. Now that, I mean, on the back of that, wars will slowly decrease. They will never cease, but they will decrease. Instead of male-dominated governments with their egos and their self-opinionated, self-serving attitudes, excuse me, but that's largely the case. I won't name anybody. You only have to pick up the wretched newspapers,
Everybody knows
which
that
I, which I deliberately avoid as much as I can.
on me on the news.
But women are so much better. I mean, I'm an alpha male, but I tell you what, women are so much better at doing anything and everything. They really are. I mean, I'm in awe and wonder of my wonderful sister Val, my daughter Anne, and I'm getting a little tearful because they are such inspirational people, and probably the most. And well, Jenny and her mum, but Jenny, she just awesome,
She
utterly
is.
awesome. Our music professor, Surinder Singh, Mathura, he said, we were sat round, I think there were 25 students. He went round every one of us, pointing out their qualities. And he finally came to Jenny and he said, and Jenny has attained angel stage. She's wandered off now. She's terribly shy. Jenny has attained angel status because of her love and adoration for Ian. And love is something that we all can share. I used to say to people, very Glastonbury, if you like, oh, I love you, but not everybody's ready for it.
They're
But
not.
it's
It
such a
weird, aren't
shame.
they?
Such a shame. The thing is today, because of the brusque approach of social media, there it's like if you mention the word that love, they think it's get your kids off time. It's not at all. My God, that is self-serving, not
Japanese have about
serving
96.
the other.
The Japanese have something like, I don't know how many, you can't quote me because I don't know, but like in the 80s, 90s, definitions of the word love, because love is, well, love is everything. So
Yes.
if you had 5 minutes, I'm guessing you would increase the amount of love that people express to each other.
Yeah, there's a beautiful song that Michael Bublé has. Do you know him?
I love it.
And he says, "Love is all that I can give to you." And he did a concert for the people of the poor at the Vatican at Christmas, and sometimes we still play. Oh, it's heart touching. It is heart touching. And I think it's also important to recognize that uh, I respect all religions and none, all
So
people, all colors, all nations, all nationalities.
we're just one. I'm
Yes,
you,
we
you're
are.
me. We'll
Yeah,
all get reassimilated back to the universal everything. And
yes,
that's me getting off my soapbox. So, on that note, I think that love is all there is. And I love you. And I love Jen.
and I love you.
Can't wait to introduce you
Yeah,
wherever it is that you speak. And believe me, wherever it was, I would be there. And I'm
yeah.
grateful to you for coming today and sharing your wisdom, your time, and your attention in such a beautiful environment. And I can't wait to come to the hotel and
I
visit
know.
you.
I have checked. It is fully
Excellent.
accessible. Yeah, and good
Well,
food. And I look forward to you treating us to lunch.
yeah, I like that. And you can buy me lunch. I love that. I look forward to you buying me lunch. Well, to be honest, you've just given me an hour of your time, so you never know. You might get your dinner bought. Listen, I'm just going to say thank you and goodbye to all of those that have watched this, watching this, going to watch this. If you want to get in touch with Ian Faulkner, my suggestion you do. If you want to get on and find his book, please look for his name, find his book, and buy it from Amazon. Even if he only gets a few pounds, the point is you will read beautiful words that will make your heart sing.
Yeah,
And watch this space, because that YouTube channel is going to blow up. Unlike mine, which hasn't yet. And by blow up, I don't mean get exploded. I mean it will become skyrocketed in once your YouTube channel goes. And
yeah,
I look forward to the next time that you might join me on not First Friday Live, because it's not the first Friday, but it is Friday and we are live. So it's
yeah.
always First Friday Live, isn't it?
It is.
I want to wish you all an amazing weekend. Remember, I'm MJ Lace. That's Ian Faulkner. And if you want to get in touch, then just search my name on social media. For full, if you really want to know my whole name, it's Mandy Jane Lace. And it's hyphenated with a Y. Thanks, Mum, for doing that. Nobody can find it. And neither do they remember my name, except if I call myself MJ. So I've been MJ Lace. That's been Ian Faulkner. He's been with Jenny. And I'm sure he'd like to go and have a cup of tea now. So have a
Yeah.
beautiful weekend.
So
And
you too.
see you all. Bye,
Bye bye.
everybody.
Bye bye. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.